What is up, everyone? I hope you're all having a great day. Now, we are back with some of the tanks we have set up over the past, 4, 5, 6 weeks, maybe longer, to be honest. And we are going to be getting them ready to add the fish in that all of you guys and girls spoke about in the comments and you wanted to see in there. First tank is this tank, which is the croaking gourami and what are they called? Lamb chop rasbora tank. We're going to be getting this one ready for some new fish. And some of the other tanks we've set up have actually had a few issues, which... Actually, I've already got a fish fixing one of those issues now, or at least helping me fix one of those issues. Now, the first tank I want to work on to get ready is the XL Jungle Cube, or the Flooded Forest, I think I called it on the channel. Now, this tank has done really, really well. Fish have settled in amazingly. All the plants are doing really well. There's been a bit of wilting on a couple of them where, well, I probably haven't watered them enough as I thought they were in the water, but they're not. But that's fine, we've brought them back. They're still there, they're still living. Now, there was loads of you in the comments that wanted me to get a little loach of some description in here. Something like a coolie loach or, yeah, something along those lines. I think that is going to be a great addition in here. The one thing I want to make sure we do first is give the filter a clean and give the substrate a bit of a siphon and a bit of a clean up, because those botanicals, as much as we want to keep some of that muck in there, we don't want all of it. Roma, that is definitely not your seat, is it? I'm going to water change the tank and you'll get really sad when I spill water on you, won't you? Okay, stay there. Now, we have been testing this tank fairly readily since setting up to make sure there's no spikes or anything like that. And everything's been going really, really well, to be honest. Yeah, no spikes in anything. So, really happy with how well this tank is performing. But I think a little water change today with a quick filter clean, maybe remove some of these floating plants because they are getting a bit crazy now. And that will mean it's ready for the fish in the next few days once I, well, get around to going and getting them. Now, first I am going to give the tank a quick wipe down, because running paludariums like this, you always get that weird, like, water line, like you get on, I don't know, your kettle or something like that. You always get that weird, like, bathroom scum line, and we don't really want that. I do normally wipe it off every few days, but this way I can make sure it's actually gone, and when it goes into the water in a minute, I can then siphon it out. Now, the whole point of having a blackwater or leaf litter aquarium, sorry Roma, I'm just going to sit beside you, what's I saying, blackwater aquarium, is so that you have that leaf litter, you have that natural sort of element in the aquarium, and the fish, I'll be totally honest with you, interact with the aquarium way, way better. Like, just seeing the Corydoras in my new, well, they're not Corydoras, are they? They're Gastra something. They changed all the names of Corydoras, I'll find out in a minute. But with seeing them hunting around the leaf litter, and the same with the croaking gouramis, seeing them lurking in and amongst the leaf litter is just really cool and really natural to see. But I do want to siphon some of it out. I do want to get rid of some of that muck, because we have got roots from the water lettuce that have fallen off and they will break down, and you want to manage the muck, I guess, is what I'm probably saying for me. Some people just leave it and let it do its own thing. Other people really manicure it and, like, keep up with it. Just depends what side of the fence you fall on, to be honest. And, yeah, both ways work. Ultimately, as long as your fish are happy, doesn't really matter. Now that we've siphoned out a few buckets of water, in this cupboard is the external filter, and probably 5 years of fish keeping gear that I don't use anymore that I should really clear out at some point. No, Mr. Spider, you can stay in the cupboard. Thank you very much. My leg's in the way. Now I'm hoping this filter won't be too bad. Let's open that up. Oh no, I think it's going to be clogged up. Oh yeah, of course, there's so many botanicals in here. I expect this filter's just been catching all of the loose botanicals. Oh yeah, this needs a clean. So we're just going to give the pre-filter a bit of a clean out first. And I think we will give the sponges a wash out actually as well, because yeah, it just makes sense while I've got it all out and how mucky these pre-filter sponges are. I think we just give the whole thing a good once over. I think I need to look at purchasing some new sponges for these because they are, yeah, not getting as clean as when they were first new. Right, let's just give the rest of this a quick clean so we can get it back up and running. Let's get this one back, ow, in there, that way around I think it was. Ugh. Pipes. This cupboard is really deep, it's like 2 foot deep, it's quite a pain to get to the back of this one. Probably should have cut the pipes longer on the filter, then I wouldn't have had to reach to the back so much. Oh well, you live and you learn. Perfect. I'll mop it later. Right, whilst the filter is slowly siphoning and filling itself up, we can get this tank refilled. I keep forgetting to put a mark on this tank where the water level goes, but I can sort of see it on the background. Now, I do think coolie loaches are a great idea. I think they're going to be cool, but I am a little bit, not fearful. Is it fearful? Maybe not fearful. Concerned that once we put them in, we will never, ever see them again. They'll just hide in the leaf litter, hide in amongst the plants. So I will have a look and see if there's any other fish that I think would be good to go in here. But yeah, I think a lot of them, to be honest, are just going to hide away. So, yeah, I'll see. I'll see what the shopper's got when we come around to getting them. And, yeah, and see how it goes, really. I think that's the best option. I'm definitely going to get a group of coolie loaches in here. But we might only see them when they're netted in, and that's them gone for the rest of time. We may never see them again. So, yeah, we'll have a look and see what else they've got that might be a bit more outgoing. Now the filter should have had enough time to prime, so I should just be able to plug that in. There we go, that one's running. Where's the heater gone? There's the heater. Perfect, on to the next tank. So actually what you just saw was 5 days ago, and I've decided in the editing process of this video that we'll do it a little bit differently. So instead of waiting till the end and doing all the maintenance and then getting to the end and adding all of the fish, I thought I'd do it bit by bit. So I've been out to the shop today and I have picked up fish for this tank, for one of the tanks upstairs, and also some shrimps for the tanks that are out in my dining room. But first things first, this one's done, and this one was first in the timeline of maintenance and editing. So we'll get the fish for this tank in first. So what we'll do is we'll get the lighting dimmed down a little bit on this tank. Like so. But the camera auto adjusts anyway, so it doesn't look like I've done anything to the lighting. And we'll get the fish in there to temperature acclimate. Now we have picked 2 different species to go in here. One of them, no, both of them were ones that everyone was asking for actually. That one in that smaller bag isn't the standard species though, so that's quite cool. I'm quite chuffed with that. And then those guys are 100% what you all asked for. But I've got a worrying feeling that I'm going to introduce them into this aquarium and that's the last we'll see of them. So it might just be a, here they go, and in they go, and then they're gone forever. Which is, I think, what's going to happen. But anyway, we'll let them warm up for a bit and then we'll get some water in their bags. So we've given these fish about 45 minutes now to settle down, and they seem to have chilled out a lot. We've added a load of our water into there. The temperatures are all the same. We're pretty much ready to just put them in. So this will be the last time that we probably ever see the coolie loaches, but the Daisy's blue rice fish, I'm hoping, will make quite a nice addition to this. So here we go. Here's our little blue rice fish. It's been a long time since I've had these. And then lastly, the fish we may never see again, the little group of coolie loaches. Let's give them a little bit of time to settle down, and I'll bring you back, and hopefully we can spot some, but highly unlikely. Well, both species seem to have got on really well. The gouramis are a little bit more pecky than I thought they would be, to be honest. They're very inquisitive. So there was a random ram's horn snail that was in there with the coolie loaches, and they were all like around it trying to sort of look at it. But the coolie loaches have been out a little bit, and I can see one under the leaf litter here, just sat there watching me and eyeing me up. And the rice fish seem to be just sort of milling about in amongst the harlequins. They've got a bit of a different swimming motion, which is quite cool. So yeah, they're not showing their proper blue yet, but that'll just come with time. Once they settle in and the sort of, yeah, they get this like tin foil shiny blue side to them with these orangey red bits in the fins. So they're going to look really good in here. We might even get a bit of breeding from the rice fish, to be fair. I'm not sure how easy the Daisy's rice fish are to breed. I'm assuming they're very similar to all the other ones, but I'll have to have a look at it. I do vaguely recall something in the back of my mind, but not 100% sure. Anyway, that's this tank done. We've got fish in, we've given it a clean. It's been 5 or 6 days or whatever it's been. But now we can actually do the maintenance on the next tank, which is 5 days ago from now. I'm going to regret doing this because the editing's going to be a nightmare. But anyway, we can get on with the maintenance on that, because today, which is 5 days in the future, I have got some awesome little shrimp for it. So yeah, let's get on with the maintenance for that tank. Now the next tanks we are going to be working on, even though I said tank, I mean tanks, is, well, the racking system. Now some of these tanks have done really well. The tree tank is just sort of ticking along, to be honest, and just does its own thing. The female guppies love living in there. Loads of floating plants, loads of roots of the tree coming in. So I'm just going to leave that one alone, and it just gets a little water change. The same with, oh, you guys can't see it because it's actually up there, the alien betta tank. It just ticks along. Cryptocorns and anubias plants in there, some limnophilia and some rickia on the surface, and the alien betta and his 3 or 4 shrimp just live in there happily and go about their day, and there's very little problems with those two tanks. But these tanks, so we've got the red and the green aquascape, and we've also got the betta water lily, which you may be able to see have got some new algae-eating fish that I haven't seen in ages, so I picked them up as quickly as I could when I saw them. But we have had a few issues in these 3 tanks. Now when I say these 2 tanks have had a problem, actually it's only the tank on the right that's had a problem. The tank on the left has actually been really, really good. Now, it's a bit of a strange one, to be fair, and making 2 aquascapes beside each other with slightly differing things in them has shown me exactly how different 2 aquascapes can be, but very, very close together. So obviously they had the same substrate layer popped into them, they had the same piece of wood cut in half, they had similar plants growing, so they had the big fast growing stems in the back, they had some of the slower growing Bucephalandra in the front, and yeah, they were very similarly set up. Now the main difference was, and botanicals, they had a few leaves popped in each one, as you can see, and older cones. Now the main difference was the hardscape, was the rock that was placed into them. So this one we used like a dark grey Siriu stone, and this one we used a dragon stone. And the Dragonstone one has been a pain in the backside, to be honest with you. Now the reason for that, even though I washed all the Dragonstone out and got as much of the clay out as possible, I think it's been actually releasing nutrients from the rock into the water. Because if you can see, up on the wood and on the rock, there is green hair algae. And even on this older cone in the front here, this older cone on the right was actually placed on top of the Dragonstone. This one on the left has been on the substrate since day one. So I moved them to the front to show you the difference. And you can see how much algae is growing on the one that was on the Dragonstone. So it's quite interesting to see really that, you know, just a few different rocks can have a massive impact on an aquarium. You know, depending on the type of rock you use, it may actually cause you a little bit of problems when you're first starting out. Now we are getting on top of it, the plants are growing in well, we've got a little bit of hair algae on the plants, but it is decreasing. If you saw this a week ago, that piece of like orangey Dragonstone in the back was actually green and furry. So we are getting on top of it. Actually, one of the white wizard snails, you can just see him there. I don't know which one that is, Gandalf or Saruman. One of them. I actually acclimatized him and moved him down into this tank to give me a bit of a helping hand with the algae. And yeah, the Ramsons and him seem to be getting on top of it. With a few water changes I've been doing, it seems like the hair algae is decreasing. So yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes you just need to sort of take a step back and look at the aquarium. Obviously it's easy for me because I've got two tanks set up next door to each other. And if I had just set this tank up on its own and I was suffering with the hair algae, I possibly wouldn't have looked at the Dragonstone being the cause of the problem. I may have, but I'd have been more likely to go, oh, what's the lighting period? Or what's this, what's that, what's going on? But whereas because we've got the two next to each other and there is literally no hair algae in this one that I can see, like none, hardly any. Whereas that one it was fairly awful. It actually made me think about it differently. So I guess, you know, a learning thing for everyone. Actually sort of take a step back and think about your scape, think about the hardscape you're using, thinking about what you've done with it, because there might be a weird thing that's caused the problem that you're suffering with. But we're going to get a quick water change done on these. I've trimmed the plants back recently, so you can see there's loads of new shoots coming through on the Rotala, so I don't really need to trim anything back today, maybe just this Hygrophila stem that's coming towards the front. Quick water change, quick wipe down, and then I can show you the new algae-eating fish that are, well, demolishing a similar problem up in the better tank. Now, because of the hair algae issue in this tank, I've actually been fairly hot on changing the filters and giving them water changes, probably a little bit more so than I normally would be, trying to get on top of the issue. But yeah, hopefully this little water change will suffice and give it another little boost. And then in a few days' time, I want to get some shrimp for this tank. I'm yet to find some decent green shrimp, but I've got a different idea that I think will look quite cool. I'm thinking some really nice crystal shrimp would work quite well in here. Maybe, I don't know, like black ones in this tank and then, I don't know, maybe red ones in that tank. I think that would work quite well, to be honest. And it would be a little bit different. I cannot find green shrimp anywhere. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to make do and go with something a little bit different. To be fair, I've not kept crystal shrimp in a while. I've got some pandas in one of my tanks over on the far side of the house. But yeah, as for that, I haven't really kept crystal shrimp at home in a long time. So, you know, I think that could be quite cool. So that's a nice little water change done on these two tanks, and it should keep them happy for the week and also get them ready for picking up some shrimp. So yeah, on to the next tank. So the next tank I need to do a bit of work on and also show off these awesome fish that I have just not seen in a long time. Here they are, look, can you see them? Hello. But it's Bing's tank, it's Bing the better, and he has been doing really well, but he has been a bit of a nightmare because he won't come out for photos, and now he's out on camera. What an absolute dude. Now this tank also gave me a few random issues after I set it up, and obviously I like to be open and, you know, show you guys and girls exactly what happens and what goes on, and this had a similar thing happen to the Dragonstone tank, where we had this like weird furry hair algae coming out. Now we are getting on top of it now. It is lessening. It's not perfect, but it is lessening. And I do think I worked out what happened. Now more on the new fish in a minute because they helped me out with the issue. But I think the lily went into a bit of a shock. And when I moved it, it seemed to do absolutely fine and was not dropping leaves and not doing anything bad and everything was going absolutely fine. Then, I don't know, I can't even remember the time scale now, but a few weeks later, after it had been set up, the lily started losing leaves. Then all of a sudden, the algae started growing and the booses got like algae growing on it, the rocks, the older cones got algae. What were these things called? Lipple pods? But anyway, everything had this fine dusting of hair algae on it, and we've still got that now, but I realised where the lily went dormant, we didn't have anything fast growing in there, because I put a little bit of nutrient-rich substrate underneath the aqua soil, and I think that was too strong, essentially. I thought the lily was going to use that up really quickly, but I think what actually happened is those nutrients came out into the water and caused the algae to go crazy. Bing didn't seem to care, the snails didn't seem to care. It just caused a little algae bloom in this tank. But we are on top of it now, and now with the help of these new little fish, it is decreased massively. Now I walked into a shop and I haven't seen these little fish in quite some time. Now you might be able to see on camera, they're going around and sort of pecking at the algae and actually eating a lot of the hair algae. These stems and these lily sort of stems were actually furry only, I don't know, not that long ago, a few days ago. And the fish that have been helping me with this tank are these little guys that you can see in the front now. Now these are American flagfish, or Florida flagfish is another name for them. Now they are a type of, well, what's called pupfish, which essentially is a killifish. And I haven't seen them in so long. I just spotted them in the shop and I needed them. It's been a long time. Now at the moment they all do look very much like females, but the males will get almost like a, well, American flag style coloration to them, like a reddy sort of greeny blue stripes to them. A lot of these look like females, but we're pretty sure we have got 1 or 2 males. So I'm hopeful that they'll clear this tank up, and then I'm thinking that we need to do a proper setup for these little guys, because again, just not seen them in so long, and they are so beautiful and such an underrated little fish. Now I'm just going to do a little water change on this tank to, well, keep up with it. I don't want those nutrients getting any higher because I don't think the soil's still leaching stuff out, but if it is, I do want to keep on top of it. Now we will just give the filter a quick swill out in this one. We've not got a massive filter. Obviously this aquarium is only designed for Bing to be in here really. These other 5 fish are only temporary residents. Do you know what? I just made a bit of a rookie error with this tank as well. I didn't actually wipe down the glass before I siphoned out the water. I try and always wipe down the glass before I siphon out the water, because if you do remove any muck and it ends up in the water column, well, all that's happening is you're leaving it in the water column to sit in the aquarium. So you know, I'm a bit annoyed with myself. Luckily I have been cleaning this tank fairly regularly, so it's not too bad. But yeah, top tip, always do algae wiping before you siphon your aquarium. And that should be this tank done. Oh, I've just seen a a dead lily leaf. That needs to come out. Did I get it? Yeah, got it. Got it. Ah, the tank's topping up. Ugh. So what was I saying? Yeah, so that should be this tank fully done, hopefully. Still got lily leaf stuck to my fingers. A little bit. Right, what's next on the agenda then? Well, actually, I think all the tanks downstairs then are pretty much done. The axolotls are good. The new tank with the South Americans, we can see that one as we walk past it, but that one is fairly clean and tidy and doesn't really need much maintenance at the moment. So really it's then upstairs, and I want to make some changes to the barb tank because, well, I'm thinking of adding a fish to that, and I've seen some that I like. So rather than showing you the maintenance now, is that hairgrass? Oh my word, there's hairgrass growing through the middle of the Bucephalandra. Sorry, just got distracted by that. Right, rather than showing you the next bit of maintenance, which is on the barb tank upstairs before we get the new fish that I've got now. Anyway, this is getting very confusing with the timelines, but it's working quite well. And I think it's more interesting for you guys to see a tank, clean it, maintain it, and then get the fish in, even though there's a 5 or 6 day gap. Anyway, these two tanks are doing well. I've picked up some awesome little shrimp. Now, the original plan for these tanks was to have green Neocaridina shrimp in there and red or orange Neocaridina shrimp in there to match with the Ember Tetras and the neon green Rasboras. That has not come to fruition. I cannot find decent green shrimp at the moment. Yeah, everyone that I see, they're just like a dark bluey sort of black colour. They're not really green. So I've gone down a different route. They don't match up colours perfectly, but I think they're going to work well. So what I have got my hands on is in this bag. You're probably not going to be able to see because they are quite small and there's a big ball of Riccia in there. Those are black crystal shrimp. And then in this tank, we have got... Oh, you might be able to see them a bit better. No. We've got red crystal shrimp. So we're going to go with the reds in the Ember Tetra, blacks in with the green Rasboras, and I think they'll get on really well. And you never know, we might get a few babies. There's enough hiding spots in there. It's just whether the fish will leave the babies alone. But yeah, I suppose we better get them acclimatised. So I've given these little guys about an hour now, roughly, to acclimatise. I would recommend that if you're getting your shrimp from further afield, or maybe the pHs or the KHs or something is quite different, I'd normally recommend giving shrimp a bit of a drip acclimatisation. If you want to see all of that, there is an acclimatising video on my channel if you want to go and watch all of that and how I acclimatise different animals. These guys are literally from just up the road. They're local, so I'm not too worried about them. They're in local water. The parameters that are in their holding tank is very similar to the parameters in these tanks. So yeah, I've just given them a normal acclimatisation. They're all buzzing about and ready to get out. Probably just going to tip the Riccia in with them. But yeah, probably should strain them through a net though. Now I would turn the lights on a little bit so you guys and girls could see more, but in all honesty this is an ONF light and it is super bright, and I've left my phone upstairs, so I'm just going to get these guys acclimatised and get them in. There we go. Just make sure... Yep, none of the neon Rasboras are going for them by the looks of things. They've ignored them all. They've hit the bottom. They're on the wood and the rock. Ideal. Let's get the reds in. The Ember Tetras seem to be a little bit more chilled out and a little bit still afraid, to be fair. They're a bit more outgoing than they were. But I've got very little worries about the Ember Tetras going for these little crystal shrimp, to be honest. Yeah, they've ignored them completely. Awesome. I'll give them a little bit of time to find their bearings around the tank and sort of get used to the tank. We'll turn the lights on and then we'll give you a view of what they look like, because I don't think I've actually shown them properly to camera, and they look really good. They're just standard crystal shrimp, but I'm really impressed with them. I do quite like a good crystal shrimp. So here we are a few hours later, and the green rasboras really don't seem bothered about the crystal shrimp whatsoever. They are paying little to no attention to them, so that's good. I was a little bit concerned because neon green rasboras can be a little bit nippy, but towards these little shrimp, they don't seem to be bothered. I do keep them well fed, so probably has something to do with it. It means they don't have to go looking for lunch. And the little red crystals seem to have settled in well as well. Well as well? Yeah, well as well. But yeah, they are just motoring about, picking up some of the algae, picking up any uneaten bits of food. This one looks like he's in a field of grass, doesn't he? Now that the shrimp are added into here, we can go upstairs and do the maintenance on the next tank, which is the barb tank. And if I remember rightly, I give you a sneaky look at the Amazon festive cichlid tank and how that's doing. Before I head upstairs, I thought I'd give you a quick look at this tank, to be honest, now that the lights are on and everyone's awake. So this is the sort of tangled forest Amazon tank that we've just done on the channel. The hygrophila plant is doing well. It's nearly hit the surface. Water lettuce is also doing well. And all the fish are looking really good. Obviously, the stars of the show, the festive cichlids, are looking cool. They've had a few battles because they've been sort of working out whose territory's who, but that's absolutely fine. We can deal with that. And then we've got our little black phantom group. The males, the ones that you can see there with the big sort of dorsal fin, they have been... Get out of the way. Oh, see, a little bit of argument there. But yeah, the black phantoms have been sort of fighting with each other and trying to work out who's the boss, which is quite interesting. Oh, I did add this little chap, actually. This is one of the Siamese flying foxes. He was originally in here in its old sort of style of aquarium. Now, the reason I added him back in is we did get a little bit of fungus on these twigs and things, and he has cleaned that up. So, good lad. I do give him his own food as well, but yeah, he's just given me a helping hand. And then we've got our little gold laser cories. They're looking good. Leaf litter's looking good. We had a casualty on one of the twigs. That's fallen out of there, but that is because... oh, you can see him. He's there. Can you see him? That there is the head of a South American bumblebee catfish. You can sort of see him moving. And that is why that twig has been dislodged, because the five bumblebee cats that we've got have sort of taken up residence in all these holes. They don't come out unless it's normally feeding time. Actually, I've got a little pot here. We've got some catfish pellets. Let's give a little sprinkle of them. And the cichlids love these as well. But we've got so many catfish in here alongside the... there he is. Alongside these South American bumblebees... There is also a group of clown plecos in here. So, yeah, they've not come out. They don't often come out. They're a little bit more reclusive. We've got some great shots of them, though. They have been out and about. See, look, they've literally eaten like 8 or 9 pellets and they've disappeared back into the wood to eat. They like this little cave down here. Hello? Yeah, they're in there now. But yeah, it's a cool tank. It's doing well. Anyway, on with the maintenance upstairs. So we are up with the barb tank, which is doing so well. I suppose barb and rainbow fish tank now, because we have got a few other species in here. I did also move my snow white ancestris up here because, well, the rocks just provide a really good food source for them. So we have got the gold ring hill streams and the ancestris in here. But I have seen one other fish that I want to get this tank ready for. And the cool thing is, I'm going to be getting them, and they're locally bred by an old customer of mine. So I'm really happy to be getting a little group of them in here. I do need to give it a quick clean. Nothing too major. Just give it a wipe down on the glass, maybe a quick water change. Filter was cleaned last week and is still flowing well, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But just a general overhaul and general clean in here should suffice. So that is it. That is the maintenance done on all of the aquariums that I'm either having problems with or wanting to add things to. So all that's left to do is let them settle for 5, maybe 6 days, and then, yeah, we'll get all these new fish in. I'm super excited to see the ones that go in here because they're small at the moment, but they are going to grow into such awesome fish, probably just in time for when the garage is done. Anyway, I'll bring you guys and girls back in about 5-6 days, and then you can see what fish are going in here. So we are back with this tank, and we have got the new fish that are going to be going in there. And I'm excited for these guys. I don't believe I've ever kept these at home before, and they're going to be a fish that we're going to essentially grow on in here, ready for when we build the garage fish room, and we can get a proper, not display tank for them, but we can build a tank maybe centered around them. So I'm excited for these little guys. So what have we got, I hear you ask? Well, we have got a little group of locally bred, I may add, locally bred peacock gobies. Now, you can't really see them, but their colours are phenomenal when they're older. They're decent now, but they're not amazing at the moment. Now, I better turn these lights down so that we're not stressing the fish out. Hang on 2 seconds. 1, 2, perfect. Right, let's get them warmed up and then we can start the acclimatization process. So we have given these guys about 45 minutes to an hour now just to warm up, acclimatise. We've added some of our water. Again, they're local, so I've got no real worries about these little guys. Now, they seem all chilled out, so I guess we better introduce them. So I'll net all of these guys out so the water doesn't go in the tank. Check that no one's left behind. I'm not too sure how much you're going to see. Obviously, I've turned the lights off to keep the fish as stress-free as possible, and also make sure all of the barbs and rainbow fish aren't going to harass these little guys as they go in. There we go. Right, let's give them a bit of time, and I'll bring you back to show you them, because these guys look amazing in here. We've given them a bit of time to settle down, and they are out and about. I was a tad worried because actually they are a lot smaller than the gold barbs and a lot smaller than the rainbow fish. I didn't quite realise how much all of these fish in here have grown up, essentially. They're, yeah, a little bit bigger than I remember, but that's fine. That's all good. These guys can grow up, they can put on some weight, and then as soon as we've got that garage done, we can do maybe a new tank. Maybe we'll split some of these guys up. Maybe we'll do a rainbow fish tank and have the neon dwarf rainbows as the rainbow fish in there, and the barbs can move into a barb tank. The tank is currently off, but this tank up here that's behind me, which is the cherry tree aquarium, that one's got cherry barbs in it. So we can do like a whole barb aquarium. And also the snow white bristlenoses, they're a future breeding project, because I have got, there we go, some breeding caves for plecos ready and raring to go. So yeah, that'll be perfect. We can split this tank out when we get the garage. Everyone's going to grow up and everyone's going to look good. I am really excited to watch the peacock gobies grow, because their colours and just they're not their attitude, well, they've got a bit of an attitude, but they're sort of, the way they swim and the way they interact with things is different to all of the fish in here. You've got a lot of shoaling fish, and then those peacock gobies are just going to add a different element and a different swimming motion. So really excited to see that, to be honest, and really excited to see how they get on. They seem to be out and about and they seem to not care. One of them just actually went for one of the bigger barbs as well and was like, come on then. So yeah, I think they're going to be absolutely fine, and they're already giving everyone else grief, which is quite funny to watch. One thing I do want all of you guys and girls to do is to let me know what fish you think needs to go in the Amazon tank. The one with the festive cichlids and the black phantom tetras. It can't be anything too small, because those festives and the bumblebee catfish actually would probably take something like maybe a neon tetra or like a green neon tetra. They would definitely take that. But something a bit bigger and chunkier, lemon tetras, x-ray tetras, anything like that would be cool to go in there. So yeah, let me know in the comments what fish need to go in there, because I am going to be doing an update video on that tank. I've just ordered some new plants for it. So yeah, there is going to be some new plants, and I want to get some new fish for that. So yeah, please let me know. I'm really, really not sure of what needs to go in there. So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed watching this. Hope you've liked all the new fish that we've got. The peacock gobies, the coolie loaches, the rice fish. What else did we get? Oh, the shrimp as well. Hope you've enjoyed seeing all of them, and I'll see you in the next one.